We are starting a new lesson today, and it's going to focus on color and space, those two elements of art. Space is really important when you are creating a picture because it makes your picture look interesting, all right? There are things you need to think about when you are considering space. You need to make sure that you draw big because you want to fill the space. If you draw just one thing in the middle, it doesn't seem to be as interesting as when you start to add other things around it. Space can do things like make it actually seem like the things are going back into the distance. You can do things like overlapping, all these little interesting things to make your picture look good. Making the lines go off the paper, that is going to be a big thing for us, and it really, really works well with this project. Color, we're going to focus in on the concept of complementary colors. So colors that are direct opposite each other on the color wheel. So if I'm looking for red's complementary color, it is green. Orange's complementary color, straight across, is blue. You can do this with any of them. Red, orange's complementary color, blue, green. So it's a straight line, not a crooked kind of line. If it looks like this, and it is like barely fitting on from one edge to the other, that is not the complementary color. So it's a straight line from the center of the color across. So what we're going to be doing, and you do not have to do your name, okay? You're going to be able to choose what you would like to draw on here. But we're going to use complementary colors to help our interest, okay? That's what complementary colors can do. It can really help and make it more interesting to look at. That's why football teams use complementary colors. One color is bright, it pushes forward, the other color is dark, and it moves back. And it works well with your eye, meaning your eye finds it very interesting to look at. So you get to decide your size of paper. You can either go with the 9 by 12 or you can go with 12 by 18. Either size works for this. Either size will be fine, but you got to pick one of them. You will have a worksheet, and this worksheet has a place for your name, class code, and we're kind of looking at the styles of Marc Chagall. And Marc Chagall really liked complementary colors, and he made his color stand out by using the complements right next to each other. It tells you everything you need to do. So step one, on the paper provided, lightly draw your name. And again, it doesn't have to be your name. I'm saying name just because that's the easiest one to do. Largely on the paper in block letters. Fill the paper. So again, that element of art, space, needs to be there. I've already done my name on something, so I want to do a different, all right, thing on mine. So on this one, I might do an actual image or a picture. So I think I'm going to do that on this one. Something very simple. I'm not going to get overly complicated with it, but I'm going to do a simple picture. So I've got my simple picture started here. And I'm going to work quickly. So again, this is more of the advanced idea. The simplified would be choosing your name, one object. After you draw, then step two is you're going to draw one large geometric shape across paper. So geometric is shapes we know by heart. Heart, square, diamond, all of those. I am going to use a ruler to help me do this. And I am going to do a triangle because I like triangles. I got a thing about them, I guess. So I'm going to make sure it touches on 3 edges. So I have to make sure that the shape I'm drawing is large enough. So I've got it touching here, here, and here. So 3 sides. And you're going to notice what I'm doing on one of the sides in just a second. I'm giving the appearance that my triangle is bigger because I let it run off of the paper, so it's actually running off. So the corner didn't touch right here, it just goes on. Then you're going to add 2 more geometric shapes. Notice that it doesn't say you have to do the same. You can if you want, and the shapes cannot overlap. So I'm going to do 2 more geometric shapes. You can do any geometric shape. Again, notice that I'm not searching for a tracer. I saw this, I want to use it, so that's what I am doing. I'm going to use it twice. There. You can draw your circles on. You do not have to use a tracer. I just did it because it will be faster. If you have more space, you can choose to add other shapes, but again, keep in mind, you cannot have them overlap the others. Once you do that, then it says pick complementary colors from the color wheel. And I am going to do, let's see, yellow, green, and red, violet. So they go straight across. So those are the ones that I would do. And I'm going to write those 2 colors here. Then I'm going to label my paper. So what I mean by that is you go through and you're literally going to write it out. So I know that on this one, I want my background to be red, violet. So that tells me that everything else that's not the background area is going to be yellow, green. So I would go through and label it. Draw or write lightly. Do not write it dark. So if yellow, green's right here, then red, violet has to be here. So yellow, green, red, violet, we go all in there. Notice I'm not doing anything inside the shape itself. I'm only working on the outside of the shapes. So red, violet, this will be yellow, green, red, violet in the sky, and that continues. So I've got everything on the outside of the shapes done. Now I'm going to reverse it. So here in this shape up here in the corner, if the sky is red, violet, on the outside of the shape, on the inside it's going to be the opposite. So it's going to be yellow, green, red, violet. So then I would come inside of here. The sky is yellow, green. This is red, violet. So I know that all of this, all of this in here is going to change when it comes near something else. And you will get yourself confused if you are not slow and careful. So all of this would be red, violet. Now when I get to here, because it's a different section, it would be yellow, green. So yellow, green. This would be red, violet. And again, I look on the outside and I go, okay, if it's yellow, green out here, then it has to be red, violet in there. It's a lot of slowing down and thinking it through. That's why I'm telling you, doing your name is the easier one. This is the more advanced, doing an actual picture of something. I do not want to deter you. If you feel like you can handle this, then great and wonderful. But I'm going to warn you, it is a little more difficult. This is the easier version. So I'm going to show you very quickly again how to do this. The easier version. If I'm going to do I'm going to just do my initials on here. Making sure they're large and they fill up the paper. I forgot to write name, class code on the back of them. So make sure you do that. Don't be like me and make that mistake. So I've got my initials on here. Now I do the step of drawing a geometric shape. Again, a shape that I know, that I recognize. It has to touch on 1, 2, 3 sides. Then I'm going to do smaller shapes. And these shapes can go off of the paper, but they cannot overlap each other. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And if you want to do extra shapes, you can do that. So if I wanted to put another one up here, I could, but I don't have to. So minimum of 2. Then you go through and you pick your color. So I'm going to do yellow and purple on this one. And then I would come through and I would label it. So I'm going to have yellow for my background. So I go very slowly and carefully through it, doing the background outside the shapes as yellow. Don't forget little spaces in between. Then I'm going to label this purple because I know that my letters outside the shape are going to be purple. Once that's done, then I can start working inside the shape. So on this, the background is going to be purple and the letter is going to be yellow. So I've got my shape here, so I know it's going to be yellow letter, purple background. See, I missed a little spot there. Over here, it's going to be yellow letter, purple background. This is the background, so I need to put a purple there. So you go through and label everything. So I'm going to let you work. Don't forget about filling your space and your complementary colors. Take your time. The instructions are all there. Everybody keep in mind that your grade is not based only on the following directions, but also creativity and how you used your elements of art, space, and color.